Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Brennan again. You are watching my BBSM Cycle 1 Week 3 Squat Day. So yes, this is still Cycle 1 despite being on the third week. The way this is set up, the program is run in 2.5 week mini cycles. So we are coming up to the end of Cycle 1. And for those of you that continue to ask, BBSM, not BDSM, BBSM stands for Boss Barbell Strength Method. And as I just noted, it is Squat Day. So you saw my first set there of 395 for 3 reps before jumping into my next working sets here of 440 for 5 reps each for 3 sets. And this, I gotta tell you, was something I was not looking forward to. I've had a hell of a last couple of days on the training program, not to mention that if you follow me, which hopefully you are if you're watching 8-minute long videos of me rambling on, you'll know Saturday I had my normal bench day and then went to an all-day clinic in Connecticut where I then worked up again to heavy sets of bench, squat, and deadlift. So I didn't have my normal recovery time, so I felt really tight. And speaking of following me, you might have seen on Instagram, I posted a picture of some of the mobility work that I did. I actually spent probably about 30 to 40 minutes worth of time doing just mobility work and trying to get loose. And despite that, I still felt really tight. However, what I will say is as these sets went on, again, these 440 for 3 sets of 5, I got a lot better feeling in my legs. So the first 2 sets was kind of rough, but things kind of started to get better. As you can see, my actual rate of motion on these movements starts to speed up a little, which is surprising for me because, again, I went into this thinking I don't even think I'm going to be able to get 1 set of 440 for 5 reps, let alone 3. But things started to go really well. And one of the things I was doing during this time was trying to work on some of the stuff that we learned at the clinic. The first of which is my breathing technique. So I focused on this all workout, and I do feel it helped me create a better, more stable core. And I know you guys have been asking me, can I do a video on this? And I will try, but I'm still honestly trying to figure it out myself. But I will do some videos on breathing and what I'm trying to do to help me. Another thing that I'm working on here, although it's probably a little tough to tell, is the rate of motion at which I go down. So for this, I'm trying to utilize some of that reflex that you get at the bottom of your squat. So as I go down, I'm trying to let myself go a little bit faster, so speed up my rate of descent, although it's probably a little bit hard to see. Speaking of other things that are hard to see, as I see this angle here of my pause squats, which were next. So let me kind of jump back in place here. So after those sets of normal competition style squats, we did more of a high bar, a little bit closer stance, pause squats. You're seeing my first set here of 315. And I believe this was for maybe 5 reps. I was going to say 3, but I'm still going. So I think that's 5. You guys can count and tell me if I'm wrong or not. And by the way, those of you that gave me that mental cue to count on these, because I mentioned I was having troubles last time, it really did help because I used it here too. But speaking of other things that I'm trying to implement that I learned from this clinic, harder to see on this because this isn't my normal squat stance, but I'm trying to get tighter overall in my upper body as well. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to pinch my elbows as close to my lats as I can. And then once I get a good position there, I'm then pushing them even further forward, or at least putting pressure on them. And again, my mobility and flexibility isn't that great, but I find that helps me keep tighter overall, and that's going to help me with these lifts, especially as the weight continues to increase. So moving on to more pause squats, here you see a little bit heavier work. I believe that this is actually 345, and these felt really good. And that's surprising only because last week, again, I was saying how much of trouble I had with these movements, but I upped the weight, and in this case we did sets of 3 instead of sets of 5, but still, I felt really good on these, felt really stable, so that went really well in my opinion, obviously. You can also probably tell, or maybe you can't, that I'm wearing a cap for once, like a baseball cap. Typically my beanie would be seen here, but I picked up a couple of things from the clinic, number 1 being this JTS hat, and number 2 being the Juggernaut shirt, which is a really comfortable shirt, by the way, and I think they're having a sale for like 20 bucks on either of these two, so I got both of them for 40 bucks. Pretty good deal in my opinion, if you so happen to be interested. Now from there, from the pause squats, we went on to stiff-legged deficit deads. You can see for this first set here, I'm going without a belt, no straps, obviously, double overhand grip. This is, I believe, 265 pounds, and it called for 8 reps, and I got all of them. Now the next set you're going to see, I bumped the weight up to 295, again aiming for 8 reps. But one of the things I wanted to mention on this workout program, it's all about hitting your reps. Chad Smith said something great at the clinic that I completely agree with, And he said, you don't grow from the reps that you miss, you grow from the reps that you make. So I try to do my workouts so I don't fail a lot. And you guys will probably see that's a consistent theme on here. I want to build this good momentum going forward so that when I do compete in my next powerlifting meet, I have a lot of positive history behind it, and then that's when I can really push myself. I got a little bit better of an angle here, stepped it back a little bit so you guys could see more of my disgustingly gross and coordinated outfit that I seem to be rocking today. But this second set again was 295, and then from there I had 2 more working sets of this workout, or I should say this exercise, and that was at 335. I want to say those look like 10s on the end. Those big black bumper plates are a little bit hard to read only because they look like they probably weigh 100 pounds each, but they're only 45. So we had 2 sets of this again at 8 reps each, and for this one I did decide to throw my belt on. I've been trying to avoid it for some of these accessory movements. However, based off the fact that I was feeling pretty worn down and my lower back was feeling a little fatigued, I thought it would be a good idea. Now I think it's also important to note that it felt fatigued and it didn't feel like I snapped it. So a lot of you have been saying, back snap city, or your lower back's going to really be paying for this. I've been getting stronger. My lower back's been feeling better than it ever has, which is surprising, especially for someone like me who has bone spurs on a couple of their lower vertebrae. And really, since I started doing a lot of these heavy movements, these big compounds, deadlifts, getting better range of motion on my squats, doing stuff like stiff leg deadlifts, my lower back has never felt better. So it's called strength training for a reason, because you're trying to make those areas stronger. So maybe that's something you guys should consider if you're having lower back pain. However, always consult with your doctor first. Unless your doctor tells you not to do it, then get a new doctor. Next exercise I did here, just some pull-ups. They were 3 sets to failure. I'm only showing you my first one only because who really wants to see 2 extra sets of pull-ups? I believe I got like 15 or 16 reps here on this. Range of motion, meh. I feel like I could have got a little bit better range of motion on some of these, but considering all the work I've done up to this point in terms of, the squats and the deadlifts, I felt like this was pretty good. And my grip strength is really, really improving. I haven't had to use straps yet these first, 2.5 weeks I've been on the program, and it's been a lot of pulling movements and a lot of grip indirect training, so that's something that I'm really excited about. So after I did a total of 3 sets, I then had 3 sets of hanging leg raises. I apologize about the bad angle. There was just kind of a lot of people in the gym and I couldn't get the further back shot that you're used to. Just 3 sets of 10 here, trying to not really get too much momentum going in here, but that was about it. So some ab work to finish this out. So there you go. That's my week 3 cycle 1 BBSM squat day. Thanks guys for watching, and as always, we'll talk to you later, and stay big.